somebody on board has phoned the marina security and they're heading out to intercept me. So a few years ago, I was in the Bahamas, working on a yacht that I worked on at the time. Now it was around about the time I just bought my first drone. It's a Mavic Pro, the first model that they'd produced DJI of the Mavic, and it was the first drone I'd ever owned as well. Because of the job I do on board, when the owner or the guests are on board, I'm very rarely allowed to go ashore because, you know, they always need me for some reason or another. The only time I get to go ashore is if they go ashore. And the owner of the yacht I worked on at the time, he pretty much lived on board his yacht. And he was pretty much always on board the yacht. So, you know, I very rarely got to go ashore. In this particular period, it was about 3 months. I think I got like 3 days ashore. If he went out for an hour, if he went to the gym or he went out for a meal, then I would go out, go to the beach, and I would take out my new toy, my drone, and I would fly it around just to practice flying and landing, etc. Now the marina is a privately owned marina, and it has a weird sort of unreal fake vibe to it. And I think it's because it's not anything like the surrounding area. Once you go outside of the gate of this place, it's like a completely different landscape. It looks completely fake for being in the Bahamas. It's kind of like someone just picked it up from somewhere else and just plonked it down right in the middle of this, on this island, you know. And the inhabitants of this estate, they drive around in little golf carts, and you'll see people drive by, and it could be Tiger Woods or some other famous person who lives in this area. I used to call it the Truman Show because it just felt fake, like that, you know, like the film with Jim Carrey. And more recently, this was actually where Sam Bankman-Fried was living, the guy from the FTX company, the digital currency company that lost all that money recently. He's currently in prison in the US. He was living in this same place. Anyway, back to my story. So I'm out there one day and I'm flying my drone, and then in the distance I see this vessel approaching way off into the distance. Now initially I'm a little confused because the vessel has a very strange look to it. It doesn't look like any yacht I've ever seen. It's kind of grey in colour, and it has a very purpose-like look to it. You know, it looks like a naval vessel, and I start thinking, why would a naval vessel be coming into a private super yacht marina? So anyway, I'm flying the drone, so I think, okay, I'll point my drone in the direction and I'll fly out to get a better look. And fairly quickly, I see that it is actually a super yacht. It's not a naval vessel. So I try my best to capture the yacht on camera. Now at this point, I've owned this drone only for a few weeks, but I've only flown it a handful of times. I could probably count on one hand how many times I've flown this drone. And this is probably the first time I've filmed a moving yacht with any drone of any kind. So now I get a little bit close to the yacht right at the beginning. As you can see in the footage, something I learned pretty quickly not to do in the future, and you'll find out a little bit later why that is. Did you know that a lot of marinas like this one, they offer a free Wi-Fi to the crew while they're based here? It's a bit like the Wi-Fi that you find in a coffee shop or in an airport. But there are dangers to using these networks unless you're protected with a VPN. In some cases, the public network you're connected to is actually being broadcast by criminals to intercept your data. But if you're using NordVPN, even if you connect to that bogus network, your data is protected. Did you know that in some countries, your service provider is legally required to save all of your browsing history in case the government wants to look at it? However, if you're using NordVPN, your browsing data will be encrypted. But don't be the product. If you're thinking, hey, I use a free VPN and it's just the same, you're wrong. A free VPN will track your activity online and sell it to advertising companies. Anyone offering anything for free, and you've got to ask yourself, what's their business model? Let's put it this way, you're not paying, you're not the customer, you're the product. And NordVPN does not log, and this has been verified through multiple independent audits. Go to nordvpn/eSysman to get the 2-year plan with a huge discount, plus 4 months extra. It's risk-free with NordVPN's 30-day money-back guarantee. As we fly by the yacht, you can see that there are crew out on deck. You can see that the vessel is laid out, and it's obviously got the owner or guests are on board. And you can see crew standing around, which you only ever see crew standing around like that when there are guests on board, just in case they need assistance with something. So I decided to fly around to the port side of the vessel and track the vessel on its final transit of the channel. And you can really see here how this yacht could be mistaken for a naval vessel, right? And that profile of it really gives that off that naval vibe. So I decided after I filmed the side there that I'll head back round to the entrance to the marina, and then I start to descend, and you can clearly see 2 people on the bridge wing. Now one of them appears to be controlling the yacht, which is quite normal, where the captain will come out and stand at the bridge wing so he can get a better view at the side of the yacht when he's docking. But then there's a person stood next to him appears to be filming my drone. I'm unaware of any of that's going on. I'm just looking at the big picture, trying to keep the yacht in the frame and etc. So I'm unaware that they've spotted the drone or that they're filming it. I'm also unaware that somebody on board has phoned the marina security and they're heading out to intercept me. If you watch the channel a lot, you'll know the boat is motor yacht Skat. It's a very strange name for a yacht, I know. We'll get all the comments in the comments section about Skat being related to things that bears do in the woods. But remember, not everybody speaks English, and Skat has different meanings in different languages. And in Danish, it means treasure. It also means tax, I'm told. So that's the background of the name. Now, the yacht was built for a chap called Charles Simonyi, and he's a Hungarian-American former Microsoft software architect, and he brought us, amongst other things, Microsoft Excel. Now he's worth over $6 billion now, 6.3 billion according to Forbes, and he remains the only civilian to pay for a trip to the International Space Station twice, costing approximately $30 million for each trip.
Charles Simonyi, the U.S. spaceflight participant, floating in to be greeted by Yuri Lanchikov.
Now, clearly a fan of military-type vessels, he painted the yacht in military grey and even put a number on the yacht, on the side of the yacht, like a military vessel might do. That number actually being the build number from the shipyard. Anyway, go back to my story. This channel is not that much deeper than the hull of the vessel. So as the propellers are turning and as they start using thrusters and stuff like that, it's just being blown up from the sea floor, being chained up by the propellers. And as we fly over the top of the boat, you can see all the lines laid out in the bow section there for the arrival, and the crew member waiting to go into action to throw lines to waiting linesmen. I'm excited because I'm thinking, oh great, the boat's gonna dock and I'm gonna film the whole thing and get it all on camera. However, at this point, I actually have to stop filming. And this is because I've been approached by the marina security. So if I pause it here, you can see the security getting out of their car, and I'm just off the screen there. You can't really see where I am, but as the captain of the yacht came in, he probably could see me. I wasn't trying to hide. I was just leaning against a rock or something, filming. Anyway, the security come over and they asked me where I work. Now I can't really say I'm just on holiday or something because I'm wearing a shirt with the boat's name on, so it's clear where I work. So I tell them the yacht I'm working on, and they just say, again, they reiterate that I'm not allowed to film in the marina. To which I say, well, I'm not actually filming in the marina. I'm just flying my drone, so I'm just making up a story to try and get away from the fact that they caught me. So anyway, I land the drone and I put it away, and then the guys say, okay, you can go, and they let me go. So I quickly head back to the yacht I work on. So I get on board and I quickly take the SD card out and I download the footage onto my laptop, and then I put the card back in the drone. Now, it was lucky I did this because only a couple of minutes after I got back on board, and just after I'd had time to take off this footage, the yacht security that I work on, they call me and they say the marina security is outside and they're asking to speak to me and they want to see my drone. So I get outside and they tell me that I have to delete the footage off the SD card that's in the drone. Now I reiterate to them, I say, look, I didn't film anything. I wasn't filming, I was just flying the drone like for fun, and I wasn't filming anything. But I say, yeah, no problem, I'll delete the SD card. So very quickly, before they get a chance to actually review what's on the SD card, I wipe it and I say, look, there you go, it's been deleted now. And I show them that the SD card is now empty. The only reason why I'm complying is because at this point I'm worried that they're going to speak to my captain, and I could possibly get in trouble, as the yachts take their privacy very, very seriously. Now, as I'm talking to the security guards, the captain from Motor Yacht, Skat, walks over to me, very politely, British guy. He introduces himself as the captain from Skat, and he tells me that I should review my NDA and how it pertains to filming yachts, because I'm not allowed to film the yacht or publish the location of the yacht online. He's correct in that I'm constrained by my NDA, my non-disclosure agreement, in that I cannot film video or photos and put them on social media, and I cannot give the location of the yacht, where it is or where it's going to be, right? However, the NDA applies to the yacht I work on. It doesn't apply to his yacht. Now, so he's got a little bit confused there, So there's nothing in any NDA that could prevent me or prevent you, if you work on a yacht, from filming another yacht and posting online the public space. Certainly they can prevent me working on the yacht I work on as part of the contract from doing it, but not someone else's yacht. So he's definitely wrong about that, and I hadn't broke any rules of the NDA that I had signed in my contract. I didn't say anything to the captain of Skat, of course, because he could very easily also contact my captain, and I could get in trouble again, or even worse, he could contact my boss, and then my boss could just say to the captain, just get rid of this guy, and that's the end of that. They can get rid of you just because they don't like you. So anyway, the captain left. He seemed happy that he dealt with the situation, and off he went. Now, what do the marina rules say? Well, what the security guards said is that there was no filming policy in the marina, according to those guards. However, there were no signs in the marina at the time stating that there was no filming. There was nothing to say that filming wasn't allowed. So I think they would have had a hard time to prove that they'd done anything wrong. And also, I wasn't actually in the marina when I filmed. I was on the beach, which is, it's not in the marina. And the drone is in the air, so that they don't control the airspace above the marina. Although I was technically in the right, I wasn't in the position to be able to argue it with anybody, really. Anyway, obviously I had the footage, and over the last few years, like I said, I've had it for probably 7 years, and I have used it in a number of different videos. I can only imagine when the captain saw the footage online, he must have been quite annoyed, thinking he dealt with it on the day. But, as you can see in the footage, there's no way you can identify any guests on board, and that's the main concern, is that the guests are out on deck and they don't want them to be put onto the internet, which is not something I've ever been interested in doing. Anyway, back to the boat. Mr. Simony sold the boat in 2023 as he received his brand new yacht named Motor Yacht Norn, also built by Lursen, and it's in a very similar style to Skat, but it's just a bigger version of Skat, really. Now, if you're about to write in the comments that, this doesn't look anything like a military vessel, and it's just because you have an untrained eye or something like that, according to Boat International, Skat's military-style appearance once caused a naval vessel, an actual naval vessel, to delay its entry into port when officers spotted an unknown naval ship. So it's not only the layman who gets confused as to what this vessel is. So that's my Skat story anyway. That sounds funny, doesn't it? Skat story. Skat yacht story. Let me know what you think of the story. Let me know what you think of the yacht. Let me know in the comments if there's another yacht that you'd like to see in this series of videos. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to like the video, because it's very important for the algorithm. And if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell, and that will give you future notifications when videos get posted. All right, guys, thanks very much for watching. Let's talk about it in the comments, and I'll catch up with you soon. Bye-bye.